Welcome back to the From the Ground Up challenge. This is week 11, somehow, rapidly approaching the end of Q1, which is daunting. I'm on a mission to try and reseed the structure of how we produce and provide food to make it easier, more sustainable, and ensure food security in local communities. With the instability that we find on the global stage, more convinced and more determined than ever, try and re-inject community back into our food production. To achieve that, I'm doing 3 different projects. One is run a small farm where we have Australian lowline cattle and a small flock of variety of heritage breed hens. We've got 350 of those, with 200 babies joining us this week. And the purpose of that farm is for me to really deeply understand what it takes to be a farmer and what is needed in the space. The second is try and build up a social media presence and community. And that includes doing things like these videos and just in general trying to build communities of like-minded people and people really interested in this space. And people like me as well who sometimes feel a bit daunted by the state of the world today and a bit unsure what to do next. And finally, I'm building a platform which will initially facilitate the movement and commerce of local sustainable food, but in time will evolve for eventually the operating system for food production in general across the UK and indeed hopefully globally one day. So what I'll do here is I'll talk through those 3 different projects and how we'll be getting on this week. So on the farm, this week has predominantly been taken up by chicks. I had 400 eggs in the incubator. Beginning of the week, went on day 18, which is the day you go into lockdown for chicks. And what that means is you stop turning them. Every day you turn eggs in the incubator. You stop turning them, you increase the humidity, and then effectively you don't want to open that incubator again until at least day 21, probably day 22 when those chicks have hatched mostly. And so beginning of the week I went in lockdown, and what I do then is I also take out all the infertile eggs. I think I had 60 odd of them, which was pretty high, but for 400 eggs wasn't too bad. Which left me with 370 eggs left in the incubator. They started hatching Thursday morning, and then by Friday afternoon we had an incubator full of chicks. The first batch we brought out was 163, which is a lot less than I'd hoped. That first cohort is usually the strongest. Those are the chicks that break out on their own. That's really what you're hoping for. The second and third cohort are either late hatches or assisted hatches. We eventually got up to about 220 chicks. It's still fluctuating at the moment. I've still got some in the what I call the medical bay, and there's still 1 left in the incubator. So that has been predominantly the farm for the week. I've still done my back in, which has been exhausting, to be honest with you. Just trying to get everything done whilst not being able to lift anything, or at least feeling exhausted as and when I do lift stuff. It's just hard work. I've got an osteopath appointment tomorrow to fix that, hopefully. But it's really taken its toll this week, and I just feel exhausted. And whilst I was bed bound for 3 days, 2-3 days, which was not fun. But in that time, just reflecting that my day-to-day behaviour, my efforts are not reflective of somebody that is trying to overhaul an entire industry, and like my day-to-day actions aren't that of somebody that is going to achieve this in time before we see a substantial change in our workforce and economy within the next few years, based off of the development technologies, predominantly that of LLMs, agents, artificial intelligence. Which is a shame, because I started last week in a really good place, but I'm struggling again this week just to get that motivation, just to get that determination a bit between my teeth. So I've just tried to inject as much structure back into my day as I can. Over these 3 different projects, I've spreading my time, and I've kind of talked about it before, and retrospectively I wouldn't want to do all 3 of these at once again, but at the same time I wouldn't know which one to drop, because each one is informing the other. And so it's been really difficult, and it continues to be, but it will get easier. Something that I found this week working with other people really gives me energy again, so I'm excited to get back into things and working with others as well. I still haven't finished that hedgerow because of my back, so I'm hoping to get stuck into that this week. And I also need to get a grazing plan in for the cattle, which I should have done at the end of last year, but it's quite hard to know where we're going, what we're grazing, and then what we're haying and cutting for hay as well. So we've got to get that plan locked in. Moving on to socials then. I posted my first TikTok this year, which is incredibly frustrating for myself because I should have been posting. I was expecting to post at the beginning of February. Here we are slap bang in the middle of March and I haven't posted anything. So I finally posted a video about the chicks. I've also posted the same thing here on YouTube as well if you want to check it out. That was met with an amazing reception, and it always blows me away every time, the warmth of that community that we've developed there. And it just reminded me that I've got to get stuck back in, because people really enjoy it and people are interested and people want to see more, and I can use that energy and effort to help both keep my own energies up, but also help others get stuck into this sort of stuff. One thing that I've realised this week is that I'm going to have to try and get away from the farms. The model had me getting away from the farm at the beginning of this year. I hasn't achieved that, and the farm is not going to be able to make enough money to achieve that this year. So I'm going to have to find that cash from somewhere else, and social media is the other option for that. It's the only one of the three which the multiplier isn't restricted. With the farm, we're not going to be able to make enough cash without getting new something in, whether that's building up a customer base, and whether that's me going to go and sell other people's produce, whether that's us building new flocks out, bigger herds, whatever, whether it's getting a market garden, growing vegetables. All that requires incredible high amounts of energy, and it will slowly build up. The platform is a slow burner. Like, as much as I want to try and get that out there as fast as possible, even just working with our first customer, that is going to be a wedge shape. It's going to be a lot of effort to begin with, and as the customer base grows, it will maintain a lot of effort, but that should take off, but it will take a long time to take off. The social media stuff has potential, if I get it right, to jump in magnitudes that those two others can't achieve in the short term. That will allow me to be able to afford to pay somebody else to do it. So I need to find a way, whether it's to come collect eggs with me or something, be able to monetize it in a way that I can afford to hire somebody to help, but also at the same time not losing its purpose, at the same time being able to build that community, but at the same time me not feeling like I'm exploiting anybody, and all those things together make it, I overcomplicate it in my head. So I'm just trying to figure out what kind of things I'm doing. The thing I started this week was, we mentioned last week, but the thing that I'm going to try and do this week is machine vision and start being able to recognise chickens. Because I think if I can get to a point where you can recognise chickens in a video, it unlocks a whole new world for me and for my viewers. And there's so many different things you can do if you can recognise individual chickens in a video. I've got reasonably far. I'm using the YOLO model in OpenAI in the Python packages. It's very good at recognising chickens. Not currently very good at recognising individual chickens. I'm going to try and document as I build that, and I'll share an in-depth project once I have hopefully made progress there. The other route I'm going to go there is trying to just count eggs and things and stuff like that, which might be easier, but just by opening a tray and being able to count the number of eggs in there. So we'll see. So it's for me, I've just really got to get some traction in there. But as always, it's a juxtaposition of effort put into the platform and effort put into the farm. Which brings us on to the platform, Yosis. For anyone, if you're new here, the platform is initially going to be an e-commerce platform. It's not going to be anything different to Shopify. However, it's going to allow farmers to quickly and easily spin up their shops, connect into a network of other producers, and be able to build marketplaces, communities, cooperatives. And the focus is on collaboration rather than trying to build information silos, effort silos. Which the more people I speak to, the more convinced I'm on the right track. However, I just haven't finished it. I've made a load of progress. I've written thousands of lines of code. I'm using agents. I'm using multiple agents. I've got tests. I've got structure. I've got the architecture. I've reviewed the architecture. But it's a platform, and platforms are built and managed by dozens, if not hundreds, of people. So it's a tall order. I mean, actually, I'm kind of reminding myself now of that fact, but I just haven't finished it. And I need to figure out where to get to. That being said, Stephen and I have been working together, and that's given me a lot of energy. They're going to be very close followers, if not beating me, to getting to live with the new platform. Stephen is an incredibly good mentor as well in maintaining a bit more of a level head than I do. So hopefully we can work together well on that. That being said, we're both going through some of the things. They're starting up a farm over in Finland, and so there's a load of variables that can change. That means it might not work for whatever reason. So trying to not pin all my hopes on that, but very excited by that, because the energy that I get from working with Stephen at the moment is exactly what I need to really bump me into the next phase. That being said, we had a demo with Stephen and his partner on Thursday, which was a complete car crash. If it wasn't for the fact that it was Stephen and it was an incredibly understanding audience and a patient one at that, it would have been an absolute catastrophe. It's just because I haven't done this sort of stuff in ages. I was never very good at it, even at my last job. I'm much better at working with teams, getting them to do stuff rather than having to tell people what I've been doing in a way that makes them think, oh, that's really cool. But thankfully, like I say, the understanding between the two of them meant that we were able to talk things through and still be able to get to a point where we're keen and we can still see the vision of the next stage. So that's something I need to improve on, along with a host of other things, including editing these videos. Right, I'm not going to keep you this week. Thank you very much for everybody if you're watching. I appreciate you. We've hit 1,000 subscribers. I didn't even say it. We hit 1,000 subscribers here on YouTube this week. In fact, it was yesterday, which is incredibly exciting. I just now need 4,000 watch hours before we get monetized here. But actually, for the most part, the most interesting part is the community we're building. If you're not on Discord, I really recommend it. It's actually been quite busy this week. We're also starting to share different projects that are going on there. I'm going to start, in time, I want to start sharing other people's projects here on the videos. This week we had Jimmy, who's building his own brooder for his chicks, who was sharing that with us. So if you want to find out more about that, go and check that out and join the rest of us. There's almost 24 of us in there. Everything's chicken numbers, and it's really good fun, sort of having that extra level of depth to the community that we're building. And that lot also got to see all the chick stuff live as it came out, and we got to discuss all of the bumps in the road in there as well. So if you're not in Discord, join Discord. If you're still watching, I appreciate you wholeheartedly. We will get this done. If you've got any tips or ideas on what you want to see on the channel, or just want, if you've got any advice in general, either share it here on YouTube, in the Discord. I'm all ears. Thank you. Have a good weekend, and I'll see you in the next one.